Tonight on the Vince Dow Show, we will be reacting to Jubilee's Feminism debate. It will be quite fun. I've scanned it a little bit. It is quite interesting and spicy. So let's get into it. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We are semi-live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome, everyone, to the Vince Dow Show. I am your host, the Vince Dow. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We normally do this show live every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're new to the channel or this is your first time tuning into the show, be sure to join us live. Would love to see you in the live chat and all that. The reason we are premiering this tonight, this is pre-recorded, although I am doing this live for the members. So, you know, if you see me interact with the chat and you're like, this is not our chat, that's why. Pre-recording this, it's live up for the members like earlier today. But as we speak right now, I will be flying home to California, visiting the family for a few days, and, you know, might do some collaborations out there. So on that point, let me just say, I said this last night, but I'll remind everyone one more time. The schedule of the show this week is probably going to be a little bit all over the place. Like, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, do a show at 8 p.m. every night. But, you know, like I said, I'm doing some other content, so who knows if I'll... So just letting you know, I don't know the schedule. I'll try to let you guys know the day of, but I don't know. I'm just saying the show this week's going to be kind of erratic in terms of schedule. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the show tonight, or you have questions or comments that you want read and answered on tomorrow night's show, if we do... the next time we do a show... I do have Streamlabs. I think you can go back and check the old super chat. So if you want to super chat the show, feel free to do so. And, you know, members, if you want to super chat the show, questions or comments, as usual, I'll probably read them on the stream itself. Okay, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me check the time. It's the hour of Dow. So true. It's always the hour. When is it not the hour of Dow? We're recording this at 1 p.m. It's still the hour of Dow. It still is. Let's get into the debate tonight. This will be fun. It's good content for a pre-recorded show. All right, let's do this. So this is Vice's... not Vice. What? I'm so used to that. No, this is Jubilee. Jubilee's debate titled, Does Feminism Include Trans Women? So this is going to be a riveting debate, obviously, as you can imagine. Not only is it about feminism, we're talking about whether it includes a trans woman. So here we go. I'm starting it from here. They asked the question, there's no wrong reason to get an abortion. So let's get into this.
All right. If you were making a health decision between you and a medical professional that is the right decision for you, your body, your future, it is always the right decision.
I would never stand between anyone with a uterus from...
Is it kind of quiet? Let me try to turn it up or something. I feel like it's quiet. Oh, that's why it's quiet. Okay.
Making a decision about their body.
No, yeah, they're like, you can do it. You can have this health. You can have this health care if you are a victim of incest or a victim of rape. It's like you should be able to have access to that. What if you want it? You know, it's about it's the same as going into the doctor and getting a routine check.
So I've said this before, but this goes back to the whole idea that the scientific heads should or shouldn't be in charge of society, right? Just because a doctor is able to do something does not mean that it is moral, right? Because hypothetically, you could have Dr. Mengele, you could have a psychotic doctor who wants to do all sorts of stuff, right? And this is the same thing. They bring this up with scientists. It's like, well, but the scientists say, you know, the scientists did this. Yeah, the scientists can blow up the world. They have the power to do that. It doesn't mean they should. It is not the job of doctors or scientists or any type of person in the STEM field to actually determine what is and is not moral, right? That's our job as a society. And so just because a doctor has the medical capability to perform a surgery, which I think obviously there's good doctors out there. Shout out to the good doctors. I do think there's a lot of doctors out there that if they were allowed to do it and, you know, if it made them money, would probably do any medical procedure that a patient wants, i.e., walk in, cut off someone's arm. I understand there's a lot of doctors that actually would have ethics about it, but we're talking specifically about abortion doctors and, you know, the doctors that do all these crazy plastic surgeries. I mean, are we really just to say, oh, well, because the doctor said it, then it's okay? So, you know, it goes back to the other thing. If a scientist can blow up the world, if they have the capability to do that, does it mean, and they decide they want to do that, does it mean they should? Right? This is, again, the question. Should doctors or scientists dictate morality? Should they be able to decide what is moral? And, you know, for most of human history, we did not believe this, right? For a while, yeah, the scientists, they do the research, but it's kind of the job of society actually to regulate them, to, you know, check them, to kind of tell them what we want them to do. But now we're switching it around where actually the scientists and the doctors have the ability, they're the ones in control. And it simply should not be like that. So, you know, oh, just because a doctor says it's okay, then it should be okay. You can probably get a lot of doctors out there to sign off on a lot of things. It doesn't mean it's right, and it doesn't determine what's morally right. Anyways, Burgundy Blue for $2 says, hope you have a safe trip and a good time with your family. I appreciate it. God bless you, Burgundy Blue. Doctors historically have been morally atrocious. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm bringing it up again. I'll bring it up again. Think about all the crazy experiments you've heard on prisoners of war from like World War II and stuff. That technically was in the name of scientific pursuit, right? You know, when the Japanese tested out chemical weapons on, I believe that's what they did. They did something along those lines. When they tested out chemical weapons on prisoners of war, hey, they were technically testing it out, right? It was technically a scientific experiment.
There's something for your body that you think will, you know, not just benefit you, but help you live and also help you sustain an actual good life for your child, then that's what you need to do.
And
yeah,
financial is a huge thing too.
It is a huge thing.
It's an extremely huge financial responsibility to have a kid, and some people just don't have that means.
I agree and disagree. I'm definitely
So we kill them because, you know, we don't have the money. Okay.
pro-choice. I'm probably the only anti-feminist that's pro-choice.
Isn't it crazy too, for all of the welfare state that liberals want to build, you know, we need $1.2 million in reparations for black people living in California. It's so expensive to raise a kid, then why don't we set up a welfare? Why don't we actually use the welfare state for semi-good for once? Maybe make it easier to do that, easier to raise a family, you know? I'm just saying, if these people are going to spend their entire political lives trying to expand the welfare state for all sorts of useless nonsense, whether that's reparations or, you know, fraudulent unemployment claims, are we really to take this excuse? How about, okay, then how about we make it easier to raise a kid as a society? I agree with that, you know? And I'm not saying the only solution to that is the welfare state. I'm just saying, notice how this is the one place where they cop out and say, oh, well, it's too expensive. It's too expensive.
Pro-choice, pro-abortion is actually very common. It's like 70%
Suddenly they're fiscal
of
conservatives.
Okay, so yeah.
So there's actually many people who are in your category.
Yeah, to me,
Bad Peter for $2 says, Vince, you left us hanging with the vegan reaction vids. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot about those. Okay, we're going to do that again soon. The reacting to vegans. I got to do part 2 to that. If you have not seen the part 1 of me reacting to the vegans, it's an older video. It's before we started doing the show, but I think it is from this year. Golden. Genuinely probably one of my best videos in my opinion. So check it out. It's underrated too. Part of the reason I didn't do part 2, nobody watched it. I remember the viewership and like nobody actually, it's one of my favorite videos. I thought it was the best video I've ever done. One of them up there. And no one cared. No one cared to watch it. And everyone who did watch it was like, please do part 2. But no one watched it. So, you know, I'll do it at some point though. I'll do it at some point.
it makes sense in certain circumstances. I don't think people should be using abortion as a form of birth control. I think, to me, abortion's, believe it or not even the issue we need to be talking about right now. I feel like we need to be talking about how to properly educate people, no matter what their status is, no matter what their sexual orientation, whatever. And we need to go from there.
I don't know what that means. You'll find on these panels, there's just a lot of nothing answers. Like, what does that actually mean? Actually, I'm in LA. I'm in LA for the next few days. Should I go on Jubilee? Should I crash? Should I just, hey, put me on the panel. Hey, let me in.
Well, I think I have a very interesting perspective on this because my mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in our state, and she is very pro-abortion outwardly, but inwardly in our home, we weren't allowed to do it. And so growing up at
that's messed up. That is messed up. You're pro-abortion you're pro-abortion outwardly. You run a Planned Parenthood. She opened the first Planned Parenthood, but inside the household, she's like, no, we're pro-life. That's actually really messed up. No hate to her, but to her mother, I mean, that's kind of evil. Why? Because the Planned Parenthood brought you money, I guess, but there's a lot cleaner ways in this country you can make money. There's a lot of things you can open in your state that are just normal business. That's actually very screwed up.
Dichotomy really, I think, messed me up a lot because I was like, okay, which one is the truth?
There are wrong reasons to get an
That's actually more evil than just being pro-choice. It's way more evil. Because at least if you're pro-choice, you genuinely believe it's ethical or whatever. Her mom is like, that's totally unethical. That's murder. But because it's legal, I'm going to go and profit off of that. Are you serious? There are way cleaner ways to make money. I'm sorry. That's evil. That's evil. That is the highest form of evil.
Abortion.
No hate to her, but to her mom, I mean, hearing that angers
Wrong
me.
reason to get an abortion is if you are going through your pregnancy and all of a sudden you change your mind. If you are irresponsible.
Go to Jubilee like the Vice interviewer outside of Tate's house. Yeah, real. Hey, can you let me in? I have a box of chocolates.
and all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that women are getting abortions because they just don't want to be pregnant anymore, they're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works. Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus. There's no going back. You're literally giving birth to a body.
What?
It's never just a, whoop, I don't feel like being pregnant anymore. Guess these last 8 months I just wasted everything. No, no one's doing that.
Raising children is the most blessed gift.
Yeah,
and I speak as someone who,
facts.
When I found out that I was expecting for the first time, I kid you not, I was terrified.
But you were prepared.
No, I was not necessarily prepared.
Most people aren't. Most people aren't. I mean, that's the truth. Back in the day, sure. I mean, you know, it was like everyone was married, and then they had the expectation. But I feel like most birth stories nowadays, even in the context of committed relationships or marriage, where they end up, you know, two parents or whatever, usually it's like, oh, well, you know, didn't pull out in time, you know, stop birth control for a little bit. That's usually what, I don't know, you tend to hear these days. So it's not really true that people are prepared usually nowadays. And then I would argue, is anyone ever really prepared? Is anyone ever really truly ready for it? It's a process that it's a big ask. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone's ever really ready for it. It's just something that is placed in your life that you got to deal with. Is anyone really ready for anything? Is anyone ever truly ready for anything in life, you know? Think about it for a second. There are so many things you've been through in your life, I don't care what life you live, where you were not prepared for it whatsoever. And you just had to deal with it. You had to do it. That's kind of the reality of being on the planet, you know?
Was not prepared. And I was very much caught off guard. And I was terrified because I had an incredible career happening for me.
Finances.
On the upswing.
Finances.
Let me finish. I had such a dramatic, fearful reaction to becoming a mother because of what our society has been telling me throughout my adolescence and my early 20s, is that once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society.
And think about the implication of that too. You know, your life is over. The good days are over when you start to have kids, when you actually have kids. Life is over. That is I think as an idea, one of the single-handed fastest ways to crash a society is to tell people that the moment they reproduce, the moment they actually fulfill their natural duty and their moral good of repopulating their society, extending their genetic bloodline, and also just the great pleasure of raising children, you know, that the moment you do that, oh, your life is over, you're never gonna have fun again. When in reality, any normal society, any successful society will always view that as the good times. Those are the good days, right? The most rewarding days of your life are the moments where you get to actually raise a child and raise your legacy and contribute also to like the future of society, the future of humanity, the future of your country, all of these things. That's what normal, healthy societies tell their kids. They say, actually, the moment you have a kid, that's going to be the most rewarding experience you ever live. It's something you should look forward to. It's something you should aspire to. And instead, we have a culture of, well, you should be scared of it. It's scary, you know? And then then you wonder why the birth rates are down. Abortion is so high. You have all these women that, you know, I don't want to have kids. I want to be a girl boss. I'm going to go work for Bud Light. And then, you know, they are 37 years old, about to reach menopause, and all of a sudden they want a kid, and you know the whole story. They want a husband, all that stuff. It's a symptom of a dying society. In fact, I would, like I said, I would argue this whole your life is over the moment you have a kid idea. It is single-handedly, as an idea, one of the fastest ways to destroy a society is simply by telling people the moment that you have a kid, that's a bad thing. Your life is over. It's very true. Burgundy Blue for $5, thank you very much, says, when I'm in an ethical principle breaking competition and my competitors are any doctor from the 19th and 20th century and this woman's mother. So true, so true. Yeah, there's a lot of evil doctors out there. They take the Hippocratic Oath, so they're all good people. No, that's not true. How many doctors out there will do whatever for profit and all this stuff, you know? And I'm not saying that's every doctor, obviously. I like to think that any practicing doctors who watch this channel would not do those things, because, you know, anyone who watches the VinceDao content is morally upstanding and virtuous. But, you know, it's true.
That I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action, though.
What is
that sentiment is the patriarchy in action. Okay, so telling women that they, you know, it's a good thing to have kids. By the way, it's a good thing for dads too, but, it's a good thing to have kids, actually. That's the patriarchy. You know what that is? That's fertility in action. That's kind of the natural reproduction of the human species, okay? And what these people propose, she looks like John Lennon, by the way, but what these people propose, what John Lennon, you know, is a world where everyone is infertile. Like what she proposes is the death of the human species. That's what it is. Oh, that's the patriarchy. No, that's fertility. No, that's the natural process of reproducing. Okay.
Patriarchy.
It's true.
What isn't the patriarchy? I feel like that's the better question.
It's a systemic ideal that...
Okay, so basically she can't define it. Burgundy Blue for $2 says Hippocratic Oath, more like Hypocritic Oath. It's so true. It's so true. Again, if you want to super chat the show tonight, I won't be able to read them tonight, but tomorrow night, I got you, okay? They should be on Streamlabs, so...
favors...
It's appreciated. God bless you guys. And leave a like. If you're watching on the premiere, leave a like.
Masculinity, men,
male power, male dominance,
the traditional idea of what a man is.
The patriarchy.
So nature. So did you kind of hear that? That's what the patriarchy is. It's nature. It's reality. And to an extent, I don't think she's entirely wrong. Right? I do believe in male headship. I do believe there is a degree to which men are the leaders of society, right? And maybe you'll call me sexist. Hey. It's true, though. It is. Am I wrong? You look at any society in human history. Name me any that were led by the woman, because it's not nature, right? It's not reality. I'm a Christian. Obviously, the Bible teaches about male headship. But even without that, you can observe it in any society. There's not really a truly matriarchal society on earth. And you might look at ours or the West and say, well, what about feminism, all this stuff? I would still argue, yes, you can force diversity quotas and all this stuff in the workplace and whatever, but to a large extent, you still look, most CEOs, most like politicians and stuff still tend to be men, even with all this push to try to break that norm. You know what I mean? And then you could also argue, I mean, the less patriarchal, quote unquote, our society becomes, the weaker it becomes. I mean, this is no accident. You see what feminism does to the country, whatever. So there, you know, but that's basically what the argument is here. The patriarchy, what's the patriarchy? The patriarchy is reality. Human nature, the natural idea of, I wouldn't call it an idea, the natural reality of what a man is and sort of a man's duty and a woman's duty is. That's what they're saying. The patriarchy is reality, and we talk about this all the time. Liberalism is waging a war against reality. It's true.
Patriarchy is a system that oppresses not just women, but everyone.
Dollar for Dollar says leaders take a bigger load. Captain goes down with the ship. Very true. And the woman, thank you for the $2. God bless you. The woman here says it oppresses everyone. Guys, the fact that men can't wear a dress, they're so oppressed. No. Harry Styles, please wear the dress.
It's not patriarchy, because the people who scared me so much were the women mom bloggers.
Just because it's coming from a woman,
coming from women does not.
And you know, jealousy, we know how it goes. It is true, and it's such a deeply rooted thing in our society, right? Even among a lot of conservative, you know, Republican parents and stuff. I don't know how your parents are. There's still similar ideas, right? Do you ever notice that? I hear about it all the time, right? They still want their daughters to be girl bosses. They still have this idea, no, don't have kids until you're like 30, you know, even among people who vote Republican and even who go to church and all that stuff. And it's such a deeply rooted idea in our society. And it's sad. It's sad. I know I won't view my kids like that, you know. Obviously, I don't want them to knock someone up, right? I don't want fornicating, you know, whatever. But if they get married when they're young, they have kids when they're young, I'm not going to, like, shame them for that. I'm not going to, your life, I can't believe this, you're a disgrace. I'm actually be like, good on you, okay? That means you can produce some more grandchildren. Let's go, right? We're going to have a huge family dynasty. Like, I'll be proud of it, you know? Like, why is it such a bad thing? Oh, but they're not going to be able to go to college right when they're 18 and then do this, and it's stupid. It's all fake. Okay, it's all. No, they're not going to be able to go to college, rack up student debt, and then work for some corporation, but not be able to get the job because they're replaced by foreign workers still. It's so ridiculous. It's silly. And it's all fake.
But these were no. These were the women, and I speak with really strong conviction about this. The women who are publicly outward speaking to other women through blogs, through social media, talking about, my life is so hard because of my kids. Oh, my kids are jerks. Oh, life is this. I have no money. Those messages are very, very pervasive, and they're very dangerous, and they're toxic
but
to
they're
women.
also real parts of motherhood. We just discussed how motherhood.
How many of you are mothers here?
Yeah, it's hard. True. Being a parent is not easy. You know, it's not easy. Life. Okay. Life isn't easy. There's struggles to everything. Okay. But I would argue that the end goal, the end result of being a mother versus the end result of being a Bud Light marketing VP girl boss, you know, one is much more rewarding than the other. And I don't think you can escape hard work in life unless you're a trust fund baby. You can't really escape hard work. It's just, is your hard work to a productive end, or is it stupid, right? And I think having children, again, extending your genetic legacy, that is a virtuous end, that is a good end, that is a rewarding end. So yes, it's hard. Of course it's hard. But I'd argue it's much better to struggle for that than to struggle for some nonsense, you know?
I am not a mother, but
okay, I am a mother of 12 years, and I know.
But listen, okay, we need to, we'll give We need to give all the virtuous mothers some type of award, okay? It is true.
Oh, all of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish, as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through this motherhood experience, I, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the positive aspects of motherhood supersede all of the hard stuff.
Let's get back on
Is she crying? Hold on, what? Wait.
All of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish,
She looks like she's about to cry.
as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through
Wait.
this motherhood experience, I, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the positive aspects of motherhood supersede all of the hard
Is
stuff.
she?
Let's get back on prompt. Again, there's no wrong reason to get an
Why
abortion.
are you
Isabella,
crying?
I want to hear from Isabella.
There's been so many points I want to talk
I was going
about.
to talk about Candace, maybe. Candace,
I don't know. I couldn't. I don't know if she actually is.
what she says about.
Actually, well, no.
Just let her talk.
I mean, that's the one that like. Actually, I get it then. That's the one with the Planned Parenthood story. Okay, I got them confused. I was about to be like, why is she crying?
Sorry.
So my parents actually had me when they were 19, and
Yo, what's up, Daniel McQuaid? What's up, Sheeny Beanie? Good to see you guys.
thank God they didn't abort me. They were not ready. They were in a terrible situation, and having me at 19 made them grow up
Yo, that's Isabella Riley. Shout out. So
and
true.
mature and become adults and not continue being on a bad path. So I'm thankful for that. And a lot of, something that you said it's society's, I think it was about society's pushing this idea, like demonizing motherhood, and you said that's part of the patriarchy. Well, I would ask you this, don't you think men benefit from women getting abortions because they no longer have to deal with it?
True.
They can just sleep around, and if,
True.
God forbid, a woman gets pregnant, oh, she wants to abort it. Cool,
It's
now I'm
not,
off the
it
hook.
ain't wrong.
What is the patriarchy?
I don't even know what that men oppress us, and
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
very happy to live under this so-called patriarchy.
Based.
This word patriarchy, it does not make any sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society doesn't bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
It's true. Look at the next. So we're probably just gonna do 2 segments here, but the next segment, look at this. The feminist movement is inherently racist. This is gonna be fun. But anyways, no, maybe I shouldn't say that, whatever. But I actually, to an extent, I would argue that no, it's not a patriarchy. I would argue I do believe in patriarchy. Because like I said previously, I actually do believe to an extent that men are supposed to be the leaders of society, right? And I know people get mad, but like I said, human nature vindicates this. And as a Christian, I think also my faith, it's what my faith teaches in many ways. But again, you can notice this in a secular way. You just look at history. You look at any way that a human society builds itself, and you can, but we have feminism now. The only reason, you understand too, the only reason feminism is allowed to exist is because things are good, right? We are in good times. The patriarchy of the past built us all that we see around us, and I would also make the case too that feminism is tearing it down. But regardless, feminism cannot exist in any state of nature. If everything were to tear down tomorrow, if the nukes came down and, it was fallout and human society had to start over, would the feminists step up and lead? No. What would happen is the strong men, the alphas in any society, the ones with the ability to lead, would step up. The women and the weaker men would follow them, much like animals do, much like the tribes in the Amazon and Africa do, right? Because that is the natural state of human existence. That's a natural state of human existence, is patriarchy. And as a conservative, I believe in that, because I believe that, yes, there are ways in which you specifically craft society. But like I've said so often, I believe as a conservative, you cannot fundamentally reject human nature, right? Conservatism is about the understanding of human nature, whereas liberalism is the pursuit to reject human nature, to defy reality, And so I personally think, and I think I'm vindicated by the consequences of feminism, that no matter how advanced society gets, no matter how technologically advanced and all this stuff we get, still fundamentally, humans are still humans. Nature is still nature. Okay, so that's why I would say even in the 21st century, with all the technology we have, I still fundamentally am quote unquote pro-patriarchy, because I still think, yes, our society is more modern, it's more complex and advanced than your hunter-gatherer tribe, but human beings fundamentally are still human beings. And so the same laws apply, the same things that work still work, right? And the same things that don't work still don't work. And so in the same way that if you were to restart human civilization, again, the nukes come down, Yellowstone volcano erupts, whatever it is, what you would again see is patriarchy, quote unquote. What you would see is all these strong men in a society step up and lead and take over things. The women follow them, and again, the weaker men follow them too. And that's what you would see. If you were to restart civilization tomorrow, that is what would happen 100% of the time. And perhaps in the 0.1% of cases where the women do step up and decide they're going to be the leaders, what's going to happen in that society? They're going to get destroyed, right? They would get annihilated and killed by the tribes that are not led like that. I mean, this is true. This is true, right? And so I think if this whole concept of feminism cannot exist in a true state of nature, if it is not human nature, and if we are in defiance of human nature, then that can only last so long. And you are seeing that in modern society. You are seeing that in modern society again, because what has happened to the United States and the West since we embraced feminism? We were the greatest powers on the planet, right? Not just the United States, but just the Western world as a whole, dominated the entire planet. And within sort of 100 years or so, a few decades of embracing this whole concept of feminism, you know, already you see what's happening, and you see kind of the fallout of all of that. And how long, really? How long until you know, the consequences of feminism catch up to us, and we collapse, and in the end return to the natural state of human existence, which is patriarchy. Okay, I hate to tell you, you know, and I know even maybe some people in who watch this channel will be like, that's a bit much. No, again, that's just reality. The patriarchy, quote unquote, is humanity. That is the reality of human existence. And no matter how much you try to change, oh no, but equality, I wish that men and women were the same. They're not. You can wish away all you want. It's not reality. It's not truth. Okay? Patriarchy is truth. Male headship is the natural state of humanity. So true. Burgundy Blue for $20. Thank you very much. Big donation from Burgundy Blue. Says, you know, just for that, I will read it in the Miyagi voice, okay? We're bringing back the Miyagi voice from last night. Burgundy Blue for $20. Say, we don't live in matriarchy, but we probably society closest to it. It's so true, and look what's happening. Men still control male heads and positions of power that's visible, but women control the true bureaucratic power in the private sector and executive branch. So true. So true, Burgundy Blue. 100% agree. Thank you for the $20. Big donation.
Feminist movement is inherently racist.
So true, dollar for dollar. You can imagine all the people living for today. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hey, we got John Lennon right here. Okay, we got John Lennon right here, so she can sing it.
The feminist movement does not benefit POC in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit Black women. And the darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us Black women as the bullets for the feminist movement.
If we're talking historically,
I just think that's kind of silly. I'm not gonna lie. You know, the biggest problem with feminism is not feminism. It's not the fact that it, you know, defies reality. It's that it's racist. I've heard this before. It's just it's silly. It's silly. Like, who cares? No, the biggest problem with feminism is feminism. That's the biggest problem.
if we're talking how
no, it's racist.
Feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, Black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for Black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use Black women. They used Black women's efforts because most of the most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by Black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit.
What is she talking about? That's not true at all. most of the accomplishments of feminism have been done by black women. Just as a matter of history, that's not even real. That's not true. The suffragists were all white women. Even in like the second wave feminism, the 1960s. How many of the hippie women you saw on the campuses were black? I mean, there were a few. But, like, what are you talking about? Where's the accomplishments being stolen? All the feminist literature that has influenced the world, how much of that is even written by black women? Not that this whole debate's irrelevant. Who cares, right? It's not, it doesn't matter. The point is that feminism sucks. It doesn't matter. But still, I'm just pointing this out. What in the world are they talking about? Who? Which ones? In what cases? Where? I don't think that's historically accurate at all. I just don't know where.
It doesn't. People who do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white, I think the most important thing for us to do is to sit down, shut up, and listen to black women.
The most important thing for us to do is sit down, shut up, and listen to black women. What a sentence. What a sentence. Okay. Got it.
As a black woman who identifies as a feminist, my work centers black women. So to say that, of course, like white women were able to vote before black women, like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my
Oh, dear gosh, dude. They can't even just, you know what I mean? They're already debating feminism, an idea we don't like. And then on top of it, they're saying it's not good enough because it's racist. Just brutal, just painful.
My life
painful
and the way that the community that I've built around myself of black feminists, we see.
But why label it feminism?
Well, you can label it whatever you want, but
helping other black women.
I affirm you, and I see that the semantics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but
it is still racist.
But you're not racist. So if you are not racist and you have issues that you want to be working towards for black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
We're talking about semantics. We're talking about terms. They evolve and they change.
It is funny though that the left-wing coalition inevitably is going to collapse. I think you see that in this case. Because even when they come together and do something, it's always, well, but the feminists are racist and the racists are feminists. And no, that's not, you know what I mean? They're not, they can't get along. They've brought together this coalition of totally disconnected, random people, and they're trying to all unite on this common leftist pursuit. Inevitably it's going to collapse. Inevitably, I think you see the consequences. They're all going to turn on each other and just, it's all going to fall apart. The issue is, will that happen in time before they destroy the rest of the world? And that's sort of the reason I don't know if it's necessarily such a good thing, but at some point these people are all going to turn on each other. I just hope that happens before they destroy everything around them, which is kind of awaits to be seen. Daniel McQuaid for $2.79 Canadian, thank you very much, says everything is on a spectrum to them. Yeah, it's true. Thank you for the $2.79 Canadian. We love our Canadians, okay? Even though you guys, according to South Park, you guys talk like this. I don't know, I've never been to Canada, I can't confirm. You guys, like, your mouths are, the bottom of your mouth separated from the top, and you just talk like that. Is that true, Daniel McQuaid? I saw that in South Park. I've never been to Canada. I cannot confirm or deny this. Do you guys just... Okay. So true.
Ideologies change. Right. And I think that feminism is evolving and changing. And I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say...
It's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. I think third wave feminism, I mean... By all
depends
accounts,
on how you look at it. I mean, you could argue
a very powerful black mother,
it's evolving into.
Black mother. And no one wants
you could argue it's evolving into feminism itself, but yeah, semantics.
They did life wrong, but she's saying, man, I wish I could have taken care of myself. I wish I could have done this. I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so. And she says it, she wasn't there in the household to raise us, back to motherhood, because she was gone.
Daniel McQuaid says it's true. Thank you for the $2.79 Canadian. He says it's true. Canadians do talk like this. Okay, so you guys all talk like. Aha! And then they always have the voice, right? Haha, I'm Canadian. So that is how you guys talk. Okay. Again, I've never been to Canada. I don't know. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about, though, right? It's true. That's how.
Fighting every single day for women's rights to come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home.
What's the name of those Canadian comedians in South Park? Daniel McQuaid. Do you like those guys? I forgot what they're called. You know, like they all.
Forgot to have a mother, you know.
When I scroll my
Burgundy Blue says it's evolving just backwards. Well, I'd argue that's the point. Thank you for the 2. I'd argue that's the point.
social media feed, I rarely see a powerful woman highlighted who is not an ethnicity.
Yes.
No. It's true.
They're using them as pawns.
They're using them as pawns.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of big brands are now hopping on this, modern.
That's not true. What about Dylan Mulvaney? He's white.
Feminism bandwagon, which I don't agree with what modern feminism is, but a lot of brands now, and I'll just say, a
Terrence
big brand
and
that
Phillip.
comes.
Yeah, Terrence and Phillip, okay? We love Terrence and Phillip. Daniel McQuaid says Terrence and Phillip are good representatives for the average Canadian. Well, there you go. There you go. I wasn't sure. I always watch that show. Is this accurate representation? Hey, I think this is perpetuating harmful stereotypes. That's not how Canadians talk. Well, Daniel McQuaid said it himself. He says it, okay? So, Terrence, that is actually how the Canadians are. Okay, so we know. Okay, all right, got it. Thank you, Daniel McQuaid.
To mind is
So
Dove.
So
Diversity is always a good thing. However,
no, it's not.
For years have not
what?
seen.
You know what? She's a mother. She's a mother. She contributes to civilization. So we'll let this slide.
Any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes a woman that looks like us. What modern feminism today is
They
lacking,
should have had a
I
Canadian
think,
woman on the
is
panel. I feel like that's what's
genuine
missing.
respect for diversity of opinion for all women.
If you felt modern day feminism didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, the entire time everyone was talking, all I was thinking was, wow, I'm so sick of all these labels and all these different intersections. And these days there's more intersections than genders. And I'm just like, all these identity politics groups, we're just pitting each other against each other. Race keeps getting brought up. I know it's brought up in the prompt for this one, but in every single other one. And I don't even think about this. I don't even think that I'm not being represented even in ads. I don't care. It just does. I don't. Sure. I am me.
It's true. It's all stupid.
I'm sure you don't.
It is
don't
all
have
stupid.
to care.
Thank you for letting me know that. Feminists always know best for me. That's what I've noticed. It's a trend.
True.
I mean, I'm just pointing out that you are a
Facts.
privileged white woman who has
You are privileged. Hey! Isabella Riley is orange. How dare you? Hey, I'm just saying you're a privileged white woman. She's not white. She's orange. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. Isabella can confirm this. Ask her. Is she white? No, she's orange. Okay? That's literally her nickname, the annoying orange. Everyone knows this about her. This is... How do you know? And by the way, does she really look that white? Like, she could totally pass for Hispanic, just saying. But she's orange. She's literally orange. My goodness.
not
Privileged white woman. Orange people are the most oppressed people in this country, okay? I only know of 2 orange people. I know Isabella Riley. I know Donald Trump. Donald Trump, they just tried to indict him, right? So he's targeted by the system. And Isabella Riley, look at this. They won't even acknowledge the reality of the orange race. Unacceptable. Orange people are the most oppressed. Orange lives matter, okay? We need to go and peacefully protest. Mostly peaceful protests for orange people. Okay? How often, you know how many orange people are killed by police every year? And how often do you hear it talked about? I don't know, because they don't even accept them as a race, okay? This is George Floyd 5.0, Orange Edition. How dare they? Daniel McQuaid for 279 says, where's the Canadian representation on this panel? It's so true. Everyone just has normal mouths. Where's the, I'm not a feminist. I'm true.
To see the lack of diversity. When we step into a room filled with other white people, we don't notice that it's other white people.
She's orange. She's darker than you, dude. No. Look at this. You're a privileged white woman. You're a privileged white woman. All right, let's compare the skin tone here. Hold on.
Had to see the lack of diversity. When we step into
So there's Isabella Riley, right?
a room filled with other white
Dude, you have lighter skin than her. You literally have what the heck are you talking? You have lighter skin than her. You are a privileged white woman. Again, first of all, she is orange. She's not white, so get that right. And then secondly, your skin is lighter than her. What are you talking about? Oh, racism. Blah, blah, blah. What in the world? You are whiter than her. You are whiter than her. Absolutely silly. Absolutely silly. Privileged white woman. Privileged white woman.
white people, we don't notice that it's other.
Oh, okay. So she said we don't notice. Okay.
They're
Fine.
white people. But when women of color have stepped into rooms.
She is a woman of color. She is a woman of color.
And they see that it's just a bunch of other white people.
Also, intersectionality is not just about diversity.
Orange.
It's certainly not about diversity in ad campaigns.
She has the same skin tone as this girl. What are you talking about?
It's about how poor women can't
Orange
afford
is the new black. That, but unironically, true.
to drive to another state to get an abortion, but rich women can.
It costs more money to drive to get an abortion than it would take to raise that kid?
Well,
Just saying.
but that's the thing, right? Like, if you don't have the money to drive to get an abortion, how are you going to have the money to raise that child? Why should you be forced into motherhood?
Reset. Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society.
So true. So true.
I mean, I've got a lot to say about this. I mean, feminists.
All right, well, this will be the last thing, and then we'll go to Q&A for a few minutes and then finish the show.
Feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash.
So
they say
true.
they hate
Go
men
off.
while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for
So
having power
true.
in the
Go
patriarchy,
off.
so they're trying to overtake
Facts.
it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man.
Real.
Women are
need
nurturers.
men.
We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God-given right for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We
So
need
true.
men. It's
So
very
true. Go
simple.
off.
We need men to procreate.
Go off,
we need men to
queens.
provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die.
Real.
We need men. It's so bad now that they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open
Hey,
the door?
John
Can I open
Lennon,
the door?
hey,
Can I
hey, don't laugh at that. It's true.
touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating, and
all
you're just like,
facts, straight
be
facts.
yourself. Just, it's okay. You like, they're so afraid of doing anything wrong. So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like they straight white men, I heard, are now the most lonely because they just creating incels, you know?
True.
They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend, especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way
You're gonna make me
possible.
vomit.
So true, go off.
Now, it's dangerous. It is dangerous because, yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women
That's
do
right.
maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by
Yep.
enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much?
Facts.
Why? The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just
So
really
true.
reversing
So
what
what
the other
can I
ways of
say?
feminism fought
This
to
is
do.
the best part
Have
of the
fun with
panel.
men beating you in your
This is
sports,
just
women, because guess what? You're not going to beat
super
them.
hot
Have fun.
fire.
I've never even felt unequal, so I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these identity politics groups. I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation, and I look at people as individuals.
All right, on that note, let's have the disagreeers.
All right, let's see. How long have we been live for? 49 minutes? All right, we can call it a stream there. we could probably react to the rest of this at some point, maybe a member stream, because this is actually entertaining. Some of these panels are totally misses. They're just like boring. This one's good. This one's good. This is actually probably one of the best panels we've reacted to, in my opinion. But okay, guys. Let's see. It is 2:42 p.m. I have to pack. I got stuff to do. Okay. Look at it. People don't appreciate you guys do not appreciate what I do for you, okay? I'm so busy today. I have so much to do before I leave. And look at this, taking an hour out to make content, to do the show. Okay? Nobody ever appreciates, just kidding. But all right, let me read the members chat for a few minutes here, and then we'll call it a night. All right. Let me see what we got going on. Based pop off. Yeah, so true. Orange is the new black. Dollar for $2 says oppression. We just had an orange president. Hey, just because we have an orange president doesn't mean that racism against orange people is done. Okay? It's still a non-orange supremacist state. It still is. It literally still is. Okay? Sorry, hiccup. Dollar for $1 says, what's with the lighting? Why does it look like they're filming in an empty warehouse? I don't know. This is always the look they go for. It's like it's so dramatic and, but, I really think what it is, from what I've heard, Jubilee actually does not have the biggest budget. I've heard they just have like some warehouse in LA or whatever it is. And you really think about it, this setup is actually pretty cheap. Because you just get the room. And if you only have this one top light, I mean, the top light might cost some money. But, you really think about it. You don't have to make a background. You don't have to make any fancy lighting. Just have one thing shine on the top and that's it. You just have a few spotlights. That's it. It's cheap. It's pretty cheap. I think that's what it is. I think it's a broke setup is the point. Because you look at like my Vice thing, it's more complicated. Which maybe that's why one company is bankrupt. They just spend too much money. I don't know. Anyways, members chat. You got any questions, comments? A few minutes here. We'll end in a few. Any last thoughts? Just rent a room, set up some chairs. I wish I had more space. I really did wish I had more space. Because I have this stupid college apartment and it is what it is. But, I would like to do like a panel thing. I really would. It'd be awesome, right? It'd be great content. Could you imagine we host panels? Not straight up like this, probably more like Fresh and Fit, whatever podcast on a podcast table. But that would be such good content. I just don't have the space for it. I could maybe at best I could fit like one other person in here, but if I ever want to do I don't have the space, okay? So, you guys want to donate. If anyone wants to donate to the VinceDao Build a Studio Fund, but real do a dorm tour. It's not a dorm, it's an apartment. It's just there's not enough space in here for all that,
Step forward.
Oh, I'm sorry, I hit play on accident. Just rent a room, set up some chairs. It's so true. Just because we had an orange president doesn't mean that orange person discrimination doesn't exist. It's so true. It's so true. Okay? Whereas people who look like John Lennon, they're the most enfranchised people in society. They're the least oppressed. John Doyle will upload someday. One day. He's like the what's the lucky clover? Is it the 3-leaf clover? He's elusive. He's elusive. Okay, you can never. That elusive John Doyle upload is like the chupacabra, or what's another rare animal? What's one they can't? The skunk ape. It's like chasing Bigfoot. But when you find him, it is all the reward. And it is so true. It is so true. All right, guys, with that being said, I'll probably wrap it up here. I think this is a good end point. All right, guys, with that said, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who tuned into the show tonight. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm in LA right now, so we will see. I'll try to do the show throughout the week. I'll at least make content. If I don't do all the shows, I'll just try to record some videos, and so at least there is content or whatever. Or maybe We'll figure it out. Okay, chat? We'll figure it out. Listen, that's all I can say. We're going to figure it out. Trust the plan. But all right, guys, wish me luck in LA. Pray that I come back alive and not killed by a homeless crackhead. You know, they're everywhere now, by the way. I've said this before. There were never homeless people around growing up. You know, like downtown's always had Skid Row. That's been known. But, you know, you never really saw them in the suburban neighborhoods. And now they're all over the place. It's crazy. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, see you guys tomorrow. Alpha moves only. God bless. Everyone have a very good night. Thanks for tuning in, and peace.